They laughed at Mia Watson. They called her harmless. Then a single shot stitched the wind, halted a nightmare, and wrote her name where the town could never erase it. You'll feel the moment it happens because everything stops. Mia Watson's watch died at 3:17 and never forgave her for it. Its face was spidered. The second hand leaned into the glass like someone pressed it there and forgot to let go. She still wore it. She liked the weight. She liked the scrape where the crown had snapped off. It kept her honest about time, which was funny, because the watch had quit years ago on a day she didn't talk about. Her wallet yawned when she opened it. One receipt. A photo strip from a summer nobody believed she'd lived. No cash. The plastic card with the bank's promise of overdraft mercy. She snapped the wallet shut. It made a sound like a small door closing. Ash Bear Ridge lay under a pale sky. Dust clung to everything. The road into town wore its brown coat like it had never been washed. Trucks dragged lines in it. Wind played with the grit. Mia walked this road most mornings at 5, shoulder to the breeze, boots saying steady things to the ground. She worked at Cutter's garage. She wasn't hired for engines. She handled paperwork and the coffee, and the people who swore their trucks just started making that noise. Cutter liked to say Mia had a good face for calming strangers and a better brain for bolts. She let him think that. She stayed quiet about other talents. The county fair raised itself behind the feed store like a stubborn tent. Orange pennants sagged. The shooting booth sat near the ring toss. No goldfish, not since last summer's spill. A man named Buck Rallis ran the booth. He had a voice you could hear from the parking lot. Step right up, he sang. See if your hands are honest. He saw Mia and grinned. You again. Try for the ringers today, sweetheart. $10, Big Bear, if you drill 3. Mia smiled. I'll save my money. Buck looked at her empty wallet like he could see right through canvas and leather. Saving is good, but winning is better. A black SUV slid into a spot near the booth. Doors opened like controlled yawns. 2 men in clean boots stepped out and followed a third who wore a smile the way a blade wears a sheath. His name was printed on his badge in brushed steel. Vanner. The banner behind them read, Silica Security Solutions. Safety demonstration, tomorrow, noon. The font was confident. The tagline murmured, We keep what's yours. We'll show you how modern protection works, Vanner said through a microphone that made him sound reasonable. Glass that won't quit. Walls that bend but don't break. Timing that saves lives. The sheriff stood with him, Marla Dent. She had the kind of posture that made people behave. It's just a demo, she told the crowd. No live ammo anywhere near y'all. Buck tipped his hat toward the men. You boys gonna buy tickets? Vanner's eyes skimmed Mia. He didn't look twice. That was fine. Mia drifted away, past the kettle corn, past a kid trying to win a stuffed turtle with a dart that had no chance. She felt the watch on her wrist. She rolled the broken crown under her thumb like a bead. Cutter found her by the livestock tents where goats had opinions and kids fed them with paper cups. Bank called, he said. Property tax on the ridge. You still short? She nodded, short and shrinking. You got anything left to sell? Mia thought of the watch. She thought of a rifle wrapped in a towel and a cedar trunk in a cabin up the ridge. She thought of a tin with a note written in a patient hand. She shook her head. Nothing that doesn't cost more to lose. He squeezed her shoulder. I'll front you part if you come in on Saturday. Your boy's game is Saturday, he shrugged. He'll survive my absence. The ridge won't survive yours, she smiled. Hope tasted like sawdust and coffee. The sky was a hard white bowl. A wind came down from the quarry and made the pennants jump. Someone's hat took off. Kids chased it. The loudspeaker crackled. Pie contest at 3. Don't miss Miss Luann's peach miracle. Mia felt the day tilt. A sound folded the air. Not fireworks. Not a car backfiring. A dry, decisive report that made the goats jerk and the sheriff turn. People froze. Then they did what people do. They laughed too loud. They said must be part of the show. Buck waved his hands. Okay, calm down. His grin shifted like a fish in shallow water. Mia didn't look at the booth. She looked past the fairground up to the ridge line with its spine of dead pines. Heat made the horizon dance. Through the shimmer, something winked. A small mean flash glass or a scope. Her pulse slowed. The watch had no seconds, so she used her breath. 1, 2. She tracked the angle. The flash dropped out and came back. People around her started to move again. A second report. The banner behind Vanner shredded, letterheads fluttering like birds breaking free. Sheriff Dent shouted into her radio. All units. Possible live fire. Lock it down. Vanner grabbed the mic, all concern and corporate sorrow. We'll reschedule under safer circumstances. Mia kept her eyes on the ridge. Her mouth felt like dust. She knew that flash. She knew that patience. She knew the signature of a shooter who could wait for wind to finish a sentence. Her broken watch lay cold on her wrist. She lifted it as if it could point. She saw the glint again. Higher, to the right, tucked where the scraggly cedar grew out of rock, the fair forgot to breathe. On the ridge, something moved. And Mia finally remembered the name that went with that stillness. Just as a third shot snapped the rope holding the steel arch over the midway, and the heavy letters began to fall where the kids were standing, she ran, and the flash winked once more. Mia kept the towel over the cedar trunk a second longer. Old habit, old respect. The cabin smelled like lemon oil and cold ash. The broken watch scratched her wrist. The second hand slept at 3:17. Some days it felt like a verdict. Elias Grady had given her two things that lasted. A quiet that could cut glass, and the watch that wouldn't move. He taught her how to time wind with breath, how to listen for weight in a room, how to walk a dusty road without stirring up the past. She'd walked that road since the fair. The arch had fallen. Kids had screamed. The ridge had winked. The sheriff had told her to go home. She had come here instead, to the trunk and the towel and the rifle that looked plain until it wasn't. Inside the tin lay one round on folded cloth, a card in Elias's neat hand. For the day you have to prove what I couldn't say. She set the round on her palm. It felt heavier than its size, like a promise that wasn't hers alone. Her phone buzzed on the table, a number she didn't know. The screen showed a photo, her at 13, the watch too big, Elias beside her. A red X marked his face. A caption, "Come watch the show tomorrow. Bring your good wrist, air thinned." She cut the phone. The cabin's old boards answered with a soft groan. Outside, a jay gave the hollow call it used when hawks circled. She didn't look up. She placed the round back in the tin. She closed the trunk. The door latch clicked, a voice floated in. Warm tone, cold intent. Let's see if Grady taught you anything with your hands empty. Mia turned and met the muzzle, and the cabin forgot to breathe. He called himself Rusk. The beard didn't hide the old break at his jaw. He had a smile that treated you like a riddle. The pistol didn't waver. He stood a step inside, careful with the floor he didn't own. Tomorrow the town sees how fragile it is, he said, and who can fix that fragility for a fee. He lifted his chin toward the ridge. Demonstrations need tension. Tension needs a witness. That's you. You want a lie from a mouth you didn't buy, Mia said. Truth sells worse, Rusk said. But a rescued truth? People line up. He told her the plan like it was a recipe. A shooter on the spur. Remote glasses. Toughened walls. Timed panic. Then Silica arrives with a soft voice and harder contracts. Vanner says words like resilient. The sheriff nods. The county signs. You say the word after, Rusk said. You say we saved you, I go away. You keep your ridge. Mia looked at the empty wallet on the table. It gaped like a wound that learned not to bleed. She looked at the broken watch. The glass shimmered with tiny cuts. Elias had warned her about bargains that came dressed like help. Elias trained you to wait, Rusk said. So wait for noon. Don't do anything clever. He stepped closer. The pistol pressed a dark circle into the air. She smelled iron and dust and the old lemon oil. Mia's eyes slid to the stove. The kettle sat off-center. The ring beneath it was white with heat salt. A moth rotated in the window light and hit the glass again. She breathed once. That was her count. She tipped the empty wallet. Coins that weren't there clinked in his ear. He glanced. It was half a blink. But half a blink is a door if you've learned doors. Mia moved. Not fast, right? She shoved the stove with a hip. The kettle screamed as it skated. Steam punched the room. Metal sang. Rusk's elbow flinched to noise. The shot went into the mantel. Elias's tin leaped and fell. The round thudded on the rug and rolled toward a crack in the boards. Mia went after it. Rusk's second shot bit the doorframe. Splinter stung her cheek. She grabbed the round. She slid under the table. The watch face flashed once like a signal. Rusk switched angles. He kicked the table leg. Wood barked. She saw his boots plant. She saw the weight shift he didn't know he made. She dove for the side window and rode the old sash down. Glass spidered. She fell into ferns and the smell of wet loam. The cabin's shadow felt like a hand letting go. Rusk fired again. The pain above her gave up. She ran low for the creek. Behind her, he laughed once. "Run, Grady's girl." Noon is patient. Mia hit the dusty road along the creek bed. It sucked at her boots. The ridge rose like a throat holding a scream. She tucked the single round inside the watch band. It pressed her skin. Cold. Heavy. Deciding. A truck engine turned over somewhere close. Cutter's horn chirped that little, hopeful chirp. And then a new voice from the trees said, "Keys on the hood. Mr. Cutter, hands where hope can see them." Cutter stood with his palms high. Sweat painted his collar. He'd come looking for her. Of course he had. He was the kind who arrived before you admitted you needed him. Two men held him by silence rather than force. They wore boots that hadn't met mud. Their rifles had rails and opinions. Vanner stepped out last, sleeves rolled, tie loose, smile legal. The silica banner man. He did not bother with a gun. He had contracts instead. "Mia," Vanner said like they were old neighbors. "We were worried when you ran. Sheriff Dent is worried too. She appreciates solutions. You sell fear that you decorate as safety," Mia said. "Fear is a wild dog," Vanner said. "We leash it," Cutter swallowed. "Kid, don't do anything dumb." Mia looked past Vanner at the ridge. Rusk would be on a line he could explain to a map. The spur, the cedar, the wind breaking around stone like a tired wave. She listened. Jay's quiet, small leaves trembling left to right at knee height, not shoulder. 2 beats between stronger gusts. Heat shimmer thick as old honey. Elias called this a ledger, a list of what the day owes you. Air, light, time. He told her to write it in numbers nobody else could read. Vanner nodded at the fairgrounds below. Crews were already there. Silica's demo wall stood blue-gray, proud as new teeth. A canopy shaded a table of pamphlets. Sheriff Dent walked the fence with her hat low and her jaw set. She kept checking the ridge. She had that posture again. The one that made people behave. "You'll come down with us," Vanner said. "You'll watch from the bleachers. If anything goes uncivil, we stop it. Then you tell the town you felt protected." "And Cutter?" she asked. "He's an honest man," Vanner said. "We like those." Rusk's voice drifted from the trees, not close, not far. "Clock's moving, Mia. Wind favors noon. Don't be late." Mia thought of her empty wallet. The way it opened its mouth and begged without words. She thought of the broken watch. Stuck at 3:17 on the day the vein admitted the wind had a mind. She thought of Elias's single round. She raised her hands. She let them see her choose. "I'll watch," she said. "From where I need to watch." Vanner's eyes cooled. "You'll watch from where we ask." "You can't stop someone who knows how to lose a shot," she said. "You can only chase her into a better one." Cutter blinked at her. He knew the cadence. He'd heard it in her under ordinary days. Vanner glanced at his men. "We'll walk," he said. "A gentleman's escort." They went down the dusty road in a loose shape that pretended it wasn't a formation. Mia saw the fair grow larger. Pennants twitched. The demo wall shone with the smug face of things that haven't been tested yet. At the fence, Sheriff Dent met them. She clocked the rifles. She clocked Mia's watch. She clocked Vanner's calm. "Ms. Watson," she said, "we need your statement." "It'll come," Mia said. "But first give me the sky at noon." The sheriff's eyes narrowed. "You picked a time." "It picked itself," Mia said. Dent studied her. A radio coughed static. A kid laughed too loud. Someone dropped a tray of lemonade. The wind ticked the trash can lids. "All right," Dent said. "You make me a promise. No civilians hurt." "That's the only promise I brought," Mia said. Vanner clapped once, soft. "Wonderful. We're all partners now." Mia ignored him. She stepped onto the bleachers. She sat with the sun at her cheek and the ridge in her eyes. She slid the single round from under her watch band and felt the brass kiss her skin. She wrote the ledger in her head. Left to right. 2 beats. Heat wobble. Mirage heavy. Noon climbing. And from the cedar spur, a small, mean glint winked back. A hand lifted near that glint, and the sheriff's radio said, "Unit 2 sees movement on the north." The radio died mid-word. Noon hit like a door unlatched. Shadows snapped under boots. The pennant stilled for a breath, then sagged. The fair held its throat tight. Vanner took the mic. His voice came out of the speakers smooth as a practiced lie. Silica Security Solutions thanks Ash Bear Ridge. We will demonstrate controlled stress on our latest barrier. Then the measured response we are famous for. Mia didn't watch him. She watched the ridge. The cedar spur cut the sky like a broken tooth. The wind kept time, left to right, 1, 2, a long sigh through the weeds. She felt it pull her hair. She felt it tap the cracked crystal of the watch. Rusk was there. She couldn't see him. She could feel how the air got shy where he perched. Good shooters teach the world to be quiet for them. Elias had done that. Rusk had learned from students of students. He'd shaved all the decent off it. Sheriff Dent stood below the bleachers. Her hand rested near her sidearm. Not on it, on the radio that had gone dumb. She looked up at Mia once. She didn't nod. She didn't need to. Mia slipped the round into the chamber. The sound was small, the kind that goes missing if you let fear translate it. She lay the stock into her cheek. The rifle smelled like old smoke and rain that remembered other roofs. Remember the pause, Elias had said. Time behaves when you don't chase it. She set the broken watch against her wrist bone and let its dead second hand point nowhere. She placed her empty wallet on the bleacher beside her. A marker, a weight, a small truth about what she had and what she didn't. Banner raised his hand at the demo wall. A tech hit a button. The glass shimmered. A panel slid. Behind it, a hidden rig woke. A thump shook the braces. The wall grinned, uncracked. Resilience, Banner said, the crowd murmured. That was when panic was scheduled to arrive. A shot from the ridge to frighten, not kill. A scatter. A save, signatures, monthly fees. Mia stared at the cedar. Her breath went slow. 4 counts in, 4 held, 4 out. She found the space between the town's heartbeat and hers. Movement. A glint the size of a fingernail. A hand, not Rusk's, Vanner's? No, too far, but someone on his leash. The man lifted a transmitter the shape of a fat pen. He pointed it at the demo wall. When the wild dog showed, he would call it off. He would control the scare. Mia read the wind. She did not compute. She let numbers be a rhythm. Left to right, half value, 2 beats, 1, 2, now, Vanner said to his hidden ear. He lifted his other hand. The crowd turned their faces. Every gaze left the ridge for 1 second. Mia took the shot. The rifle bucked and stayed. The sound did not feel loud. It felt like a stamp on a letter that had been waiting a season. The bullet stitched the noon and flew. The transmitter left the handler's hand as if it had decided to be light. It spun once in sunlight and bit the dust with a quiet surrender. The handler yelled. His other hand slapped at air. Banner's head snapped like he'd remembered a name too late. Sheriff Dent's eyes went narrow and bright. On the ridge, Rusk's scope blinked. He shifted. He hadn't planned for this stitch in the cloth. He chased it. He should have let it go. Mia stayed in the pause. The crowd didn't know yet. They didn't breathe. The air did that for them. The demo wall waited for its appointed drama. It didn't arrive. The wall looked bored. Rusk adjusted. He was quick. He was good. He took his own shot, late by half a heartbeat. And somewhere above the fair, a drone that nobody had noticed caught that late shot in its belly, coughed flame, and began to fall, straight toward the bleachers where Mia lay with her cheek on the old stock, her empty wallet trembling on the plank, her broken watch catching a sliver of noon like a held breath, and the falling machine drew a black line through the sky, coming fast, coming true, coming for her. The drone fell like a bad promise. Mia did not blink. She saw its path. She saw the thin wire it dragged in a long black line. She saw the bleacher bolts that would shear if it hit wrong. She saw Cutter below, hands already moving. She saw Sheriff Dent's hat tilt to the sound. Wall, Mia shouted. Dent got it in one. Drop the panel! The silica tech froze. Orders had always come from the other direction. Vanner's mouth opened on a corporate no. Cutter didn't wait for permission. He threw his truck into gear. Tires spat the dusty road into a brown cloud. He hit the demo wall at the corner, not hard but true. The panel tilted. Its braces rasped like old bones. The angle changed. The drone met the slope instead of the crowd. It hit and spread itself like a thrown plate. Plastic burst. Wire snapped. Smoke exhaled. The panel held. A bruise bloomed across its surface. It looked less smug now. Shrapnel clattered onto empty bleacher seats. Mia's empty wallet jumped and slid toward the aisle. She scooped it as she stood. The broken watch flashed noon once on cracked crystal. Silence tried to come back. It failed. People talked all at once. The sound rose quick, then tangled. Vanner kept smiling, but the smile had learned a new language. He adjusted his sleeves like he was straightening the truth. He stepped toward the mic. Dent got there first. You turn that off, she told the tech. Then to Vanner, put your hands on the table. Try not to reach for anything expensive. He lifted his hands. His cuffs were very white. Mia worked the bleacher down a row. She moved through hands and dust and little shocks of gratitude that touched her shoulder and left. She reached the silica handler with the transmitter. He was still trying to decide what had just happened to his plan. The pen-shaped device lay where her bullet had knocked it. She picked it up. Property of silica, she said. The handler went pale. That's not active. Right, Mia said. It's obedient.